this brother right here,
Yo.
Joel
Yes.
Goodwin, aka Jay Goodwin,
Mm-hmm.
jazz soul metal. And this brother right here,
Mm-hmm.
talk about diversity. Like seriously, people would never think to even play the stuff that this brother plays, at the same time. Jazz, soul, R&B, and death metal,
Mm-hmm.
grindcore, like black metal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's there.
Oh yeah, all of it.
We gotta talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So,
Man, yeah,
man,
it's
so
great.
what
But
are
I
you
think
working
it's
on right
great.
now?
Oh, dude, I'm working on so much. One, I would say there's two things that seem to go hand in hand for me all the time. First and foremost, it's studio work for various people. Right now, it's a couple of R&B artists and at least one evangelical church. How about that? Well, they're not. They're actually kind of hippie evangelical, so they're straight. But
And we see Rodcore from Year of the Dragon. What's up, G?
hey, yo, what up? What up? But yeah, like man, um, so I'm working on like a couple of studio projects, and then also I'm working on an album that's so freaking deep, man. You just talked about like all these genres that I work in, and honestly, almost every genre, almost every major metal subgenre, and almost every major genre in some way will be represented on this album. But the thing that brings it all together is two themes that bring it all together, and it's Negro spirituals and metal.
Basically, the root and the leaf of that root, right? One of the branches of the
Oh,
root.
yeah,
People don't
absolutely,
understand.
dude.
Um,
We might as well hop right into it for real.
yeah, a lot of
And then we're gonna go.
people.
Then we're gonna like backtrack, but we're gonna hop right into this joint real quick. So the name of the project, and of course, it's the name of the project is Diaspora AD. Now, for those that are Diaspora AD, and what happens is with me, just so people know, um, most of my projects have been like just like you have been like one man band type of things where I play everything. I'm not that good on I'm not that good on guitar, not like like others like you and others. So I'll just play like keyboard guitar at the beginning, and I do like all the demos. I play drums, play a little bass or key bass. Um, just basically hammer out all the instruments. Sometimes I might play a violin or something. Play might play like whatever, and then I'll put it all together. And I think especially for this particular project, then I'll have like people um, fill in the blanks. You know what I'm saying? So um, I just released an EP recently for the band, and like I said, most of it's me playing. But yeah, I got a guest guitarist, I got a guest bassist, got a couple of guest vocalists. I'm doing like the thrash metal vocals. There's a thrash metal song, and I'm doing thrash metal vocals on it, and playing some keyboards, playing some live drums. But yeah, it's a big party, man. Even the EP has like one song has 6 guests on it, and another song has 2, and then the other song has 2 also. Yeah, so it's for that EP. It's like a 3-song EP. So yeah, so that's kind of that's like the big thing I'm working on now. That's um, it's crazy because I've been working on it for 20 years and didn't realize I was working on it for 20 years. It was just one of those things where God put something in me, and
Shouts to Jared,
I
by
wrote
the
it.
way, from World Eater. I just see he's giving
Hey,
us props right here,
what
man.
up? What up? So yeah, so dude, like I had a couple songs laying around for years, and one of them I put out on like a EP, which we'll talk about, like my very first EP ever, which you still have a copy of, which is hilarious. But I put that song out, and then right after that, I just discarded it. I'm like, okay, I hate this thing. Let me just put it away. But
Wait, why did you hate? Wait, what did you hate? Bounce with me?
dude, that whole dude,
That song
it
is
was
hard.
in a place. I hate. You know what? I've grown so much as a producer. Like when you hear the new material and you compare it to what happened then, it's just like, oh my god, it's so night and day. Plus, I didn't have any access to guitar players then. I mean, I had access to one, but I mean, he wasn't at that time. He wasn't like he was just starting out. So I didn't really get to make the album I did. Plus, I cringe at the lyrics and some of that stuff. I'm like, good lord, what the hell, man? But We live and we learn. I'm gonna redo some of the lyrics, to be honest with me, but I am gonna re-release that EP soon. But yeah, it started with that EP. Like I said, I just didn't realize it. It was definitely God. But last year, man, I was rereading the article. I found an article in Revolver magazine about Zeal and Ardor, and I know me and you talked about that in like earlier. But yeah, Zeal and Ardor is a band, and they're from Switzerland, and the lead singer slash multi-instrumentalist of that band, he was on 4chan, I believe, and I know you know this story, but yeah, he some people on there he was asking them, like, he was looking into doing some new music and figuring out what two genres to combine. So of course somebody said black metal and nigger music. So he was like, of course he thought about it and decided to do something about it. So he decided to create an album under the name Zeal and Ardor. And the premise, the theme of the album was, what if, of course, the slaves, the American slaves, worship Satan instead of God? What kind of music would they put out? So that's kind of, that's the thing he did. So I listened to the album like a couple years ago, and I was like, it's nice music. Don't really care about the message that much, but decent, really decent music. But when I listened to it again last January, like a light bulb went off. I'm like, well, hell, like I'm not just making up stuff. Like I literally have 3 that I've arranged that are actual Negro spirituals that have been laying around for decades at this point. So I'm like, why not just make a whole album of these things? So it took a while getting started because my schedule was kind of weird. But this year, I started like the end of last year, and then all of this year I've been making demos. So I've done like 13 demos, and I'm just kind of filling the blanks, just so people know that I'm like super serious about putting these songs out. I went ahead and released the EP on September the 11th. Of course, that date is significant too, because September 11th, we think about terrorism on that day, and we think about like we think about freedom and the human struggle, like for like freedom from terrorism and stuff. But when we think about terrorism, it's like we almost go right to Afghanistan and Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda. But September the 11th, putting that album out then with these particular songs is a reminder that there's some terrorism that's been going on in America since 1619 and
Oh
before.
yeah, even before that, in the 1500s. Yeah,
The terrorism against African Americans and and even other and indigenous people also, of course. But yeah,
some of us are indigenous to this country. A lot of people don't know that. But yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But yeah,
so it's like, dude, it's so obviously it gets really deep. But I think what's beautiful about the experience is, I know me and you've talked a lot about the whole what is that, critical race theory, and how people are trying to erase it. They're trying to do this and that, and they're trying to say this never happened and all that stuff. But no matter what kind of history people try to erase, and that's a big middle finger to like some of these senators that actually ran, and governors and stuff that actually ran their campaigns on banning critical race theory from schools. One thing that no matter what they try to erase, one thing they can never erase is our songs.
nope. And those songs talk about everything that we're talking about struggle wise. And
Yes,
that's
sir.
where all these genres of the music that is so-called pop music or popular music come from. Jazz, rock and roll, freaking blues, R&B. I said it in all, I didn't go in the order, but you guys know what I mean. And you can't take that from foundational Black Americans, original Black Americans,
Right.
or when it comes to rock and roll, especially, like that was notice every music that we've done, and this is a lot of the music that you play, like, I mean, you call yourself jazz soul metal. It's amazing. A lot of the stuff, jazz was demonized. They called it jackass music. Rock and roll was demonized. They called it the N-word music and race music and all this other Jungle Bunny stuff. R&B that preceded rock and roll. Hip hop,
Yeah.
another foundational Black American creation,
Yep.
was demonized. And now people are making money out of it, and
Crazy.
it's just they try to Jim Crow us from it. It's
Exactly.
weird,
Dude,
you
I've been
know. Like,
so much the last few days with Andre 3000, which we're gonna get into that too, dude.
yeah,
So, dudes, I would say the other thing, man, that really inspired me, Zealand Ardor was one thing. The other thing was the life and legacy of Rosetta Tharpe. I was listening to Did It Rain, which is she recorded that video like on a railroad, and a whole bunch of like white people sitting there enjoying the music, and she had her little band, and she's singing this song. So I'm listening to the song a couple of years ago, and I'm like, this is basically a Negro spiritual. So all she was really doing is taking Negro spirituals and putting some distortion on them, playing them on guitar. So I'm like, so that was
yeah.
definitely an inspiration to just kind of. So really and truthfully, what I'm doing with this album, I'm really continuing the legacy of Rosetta Tharpe, probably more than anything, and most importantly, also Negro spirituals. Blues came from Negro spirituals, and all this stuff. And then also, I think as a Christian, not necessarily one that subscribes to evangelical Christianity per se. You know what I'm saying? Because we know that there's been a whitewashed version of Christianity that has, just like everything else in America, what they've done to Black music and what they've done to Black culture is the same thing they did with foundational, like Black religions, like Christianity. They've taken it and they put their spin on it, and then they tried to use it to oppress people. That's all there is to it. And
Yep.
of course, I know we've had so many conversations about orthodoxy, Ethiopian orthodoxy and stuff. And I think that one thing I learned from you is that it's just such a more pure form of Christianity than what a lot of people see in the media, or even what we've seen in the examples from churches and whatever else. But yeah, just
But
thinking
that's
about
it.
like how
I'm
all
sorry, brother. I didn't mean to interrupt.
nah, like
You
just
got
thinking
me
about
all excited.
how it started off like with Masters of God. Now, of course, a lot of that was cold too. So I'm really like speaking about what those codes mean. I literally have like preachers and like just different poets and stuff that kind of like in between the songs that'll be talking about like the meanings of some of these songs, like both the spiritual meaning and then also the coded meaning of some of these songs. The first one that's on there, the first song you hear on the EP is just like an interlude, it's an intro, and it's like New Orleans swing jazz, and it's like a really short monologue. It talks about the song Down by the Riverside and what the riverside meant to slaves as they were escaping via the Underground Railroad or however they escaped. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, all of that is kind of what's up, man. It's like I said, it really gets deep, but it's been such a joy, man, to like dive into the music and also the history of the music as I record and hopefully make something kind of unique, man. But yeah, like all the styles of music, like I said, that I have in there. I got like a hip hop, like a couple of hip hop metal songs that are coming up. I got a reggae metal song for sure. I'm One of the interludes is gonna be like an Afro beats metal type of thing. Also, what else have I recorded? The first 3 songs that I recorded like years ago were actually doom metal songs. I was gonna make a doom metal album for real, but I was like, okay, I need to speed some of these songs up. So start speeding them. Dude, like this drum set right here. Uh, um, I got on this joint and I was like writing out some of the drum parts. And I got a dope bass pedal around somewhere, and I'm just like, dang, I'm just kicking my own butt, just trying
Do
to
you
write all.
blast on there? You
Oh yeah,
blasting?
I got some blasts, man. There's a couple of songs that are really gonna be blasting. I got a special. There's one, I'm trying to get Jason on one of these songs. We've kind of talked about it, a
Shit.
little bit. So,
For you
dude,
guys that don't know who Jason Black, not Jason Black, shouts to Jason Black, but Jason Sherlock is from. He was the first drummer for Mortification, and he also was a black metal band called Horde. And
yeah,
didn't he do Paramecium too?
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Really,
doom metal band
dude,
called Paramecium.
Paramecium,
Amazing drummer.
Paramecium inspired the first 4 songs that I wrote for this album, or that I arranged, including, you know, the song that's on the Lamar album, I've Been Mute. Like, that's straight up Paramecium and Ancestor. Like, when
Sick.
Ancestor was on doom metal, like that song was inspired by that. I got a song called "Soon I Will Be Done" that's on there, and that's inspired heavily by Paramecium. The first song on Paramecium's "Exhumed from the Earth" album. It's like literally a super inspiration from that. And it even has an opera singer. I got an opera singer, man, that's singing on it. And it's so sick, man. It's part Paramecium, and then there's like a little bit of Tourniquet influence too, just a little bit.
Man, can't wait to hear that. I know you're a genius, and you know I play at the living snot out of Bounce With Me, Bounce With Me. Dude, let me tell you guys, no one's ever done this.
When we re-record, when this song is re-recorded, you're gonna like do it with me. How about that?
That'd be rad. I would be down to rock that.
Yeah, when we come,
dude. Okay, this dude's playing death metal, and you could hear like the R&B influence. It's just such a not normal song. Like the song came out of left field. He might think it's cheesy, but that song was banging, dude. I remember the first time, and it was funny because I'm so used to him with his baritone voice, but he's screaming, bro. And then like he does those background vocals in the middle of that. I'm like, and the song called "Bounce With Me." That brother was saying, "Bounce with me, man." You know, I'm from LA.
Yeah,
we talk like
right. Dude, that is so funny, man. Like,
bounce with me.
Dude, that's so funny. It's so funny because that album, like I said, I'm gonna re-release the EP. Just sometime in the next couple of weeks. I'm actually I might do it tonight and like go through my old computer, find all those files, and just go on and upload them to DistroKid because I have the album artwork already. So, you know, I don't know. I've been kind of like just kind of sitting on it while I wait for the new single that I'll be putting out soon to get mixed and mastered. Like, we're working on that on Wednesday. Hopefully it'll be done Wednesday. So I don't know. I was saying that I was gonna do it tonight, but I think I'm gonna wait till Wednesday. When the song finishes getting mixed. I'm waiting on some artwork too. So that's the only thing that's holding it up. But dude, that song, the song I got coming out, like in a couple, like maybe a week or two, it's crazy. It's blues. It's like bluesy hard rock with gospel singing on it. So, one thing that was really important to me with this album, there's a few like musicians that are like Indian. There's a couple musicians that are white on the album, but because it's Negro spirituals, I want every person that sings, that screams, that does black metal vocals or whatever else to be black. You know, because it's our story, man. So I might do a future album that features a few people, like white people that I feel have soul and could actually pull it off. But I really want this particular album to be, you know, black, like just straight up black, man. Because like even listening to the people that I have on the album so far, it's just like these songs sound so much better. Like it's even if it's thrash metal or whatever, like these songs sound so much better with some soul. Yeah. Like, you know, and the singers are like mostly gospel singers. And of course, I'm doing like harsh vocals because I'm not a gospel singer per se. But dude, I'm like, man, I
can't wait to hear it. Because it's funny that you mentioned the other brother that and I remember that story. You know, of course, people on what was it, Reddit, right? Reddit or what's the
oh yeah,
4chan? 4chan and Reddit. They're like an enclave for all these sort of like racist supremacist type idiots. You know, and of course, you know, if a black person like the brother that read that, you know, he's like, okay, I'll take you up on your offer, and he did it. And I think it's a trip because, like, I mean, he took more of a left-hand path approach, but for us, what he doesn't realize, or I'm not saying him, but what that person that made the ridiculous comment didn't realize is that even the black metal is still rooted with that, because every form of rock and roll still has that root, no matter what, no matter how much you take it away from that. That's one of the things that I kind of emphasize when I talk about this form of music. You can't get away from that. Shouts to Rob Howe for even talking about people like Howlin' Wolf. people would,
Yes.
and this is supposedly like the dude that people really put heavy metal
Mm-hmm.
on, saying, hey, there's still that root to it. Heavy metal would not be what it is without that root.
Man,
Yeah,
his
Howlin'
riff.
Wolf is blues, but blues is the other side of gospel music in that
Mm-hmm.
sense, you know?
Yeah, dude. Howlin' Wolf, like, I know for certain that people like James Hetfield
Oh,
took their riffing style from Howlin' Wolf. Like they were influenced. You can tell. Like Kirk Hammett there. I'm sure Kirk has talked about Howlin' Wolf a lot. And you can just
yeah.
hear that crunch, in especially like Metallica or some groups like that. But man, also Howlin' Wolf is credited with being the first artist to do the death growl.
Yeah, that's how he got his name. That dude, okay, when you hear even Spoonful, that stuff is not like, it's not easy listening music. People might look at it now like that, but that was kind of scary. And that wasn't the only, that's how he got his name, because he sounded like somebody baying at the moon, like, ah, like it was just, you could hear it, him and Captain Beefheart or Edgar Broughton and Tom Waits, like a lot of those guys took note from that dude. I mean, they weren't the only ones, but they're the most obvious. So it's kind of like, him screaming, Jay Hawkins, of course,
Yeah,
Bunker Hill, all these guys are doing different versions of that,
yeah.
and
Hawkins probably invented the black metal scream for sure. The shriek, like in putting it in music. But yeah, dude, he was doing some stuff. I mean, of course, he weirdo, but just beautiful. It's so crazy how he was one of the people that really brought what we now know as goth subculture into music. And for black people, man, fashion of different types went so hand in hand with music, just like like with the goth fashion for Screaming Jay, or like the kind of clothes that people were wearing, hip hop fashion or whatever. Which
yep, or the glam fashion for Little Richard.
oh yeah, exactly, yes, absolutely. Meanwhile, the Beatles, for a long time, they were just wearing suits or whatever. They finally got into the hippie era, what I'm saying, in the mid '60s or whatever. But man, these guys, when they first came out, they were, it was just all suits and ties.
Yeah,
So,
it's funny you mentioned that too, but even that shout, that screaming,
mm-hmm.
that comes from a lot of gospel music had that
Yeah.
in it. Like you can't, and it's funny when you even listen to the likes of Arthur Brown and Deep Purple.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna eventually do something that chronicles like just the various voices of metal or rock and roll in general
Mm-hmm.
that came from the gospel string all the way to the fuse of the opera thing, and then just yelling and then just growling. Like there was a progression in
Yeah.
that, and hearing that gospel scream. I think it was either Spooky Tooth or Humble Pie. Who wrote that album, Ceremony? I could forget. My dad and I, like he would talk about, but like a lot of those guys, Joe Cocker, all of them, just like that's some gospel, black gospel type stuff, and it translated in rock and roll. Even in when you listen to Deep Purple, you could hear it. When you listen to like a lot of those bands, like just screaming and yelling like that. I mean, Led Zeppelin, all of them. That's that gospel shout. Little Richard and Bunker Hill, all of them. Like
Mm-hmm.
it happened in blues. So it's just like that's a long tradition in rock and roll that has its roots in that.
Yeah.
And like it's just, so for us, like, I mean, for me, I mean, like when I hear what you're doing, I mean, you were doing that before even that guy
Yeah.
made that project. You were already on that.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like I did it, and like that's definitely the whole reason that I'm re-releasing this album, like the one that I did, the Lamar album. It's the whole reason I'm releasing it, just for history purposes. Because like I said, I'm not sitting around like listening to this. I still cringe at it. I really want to record the whole thing. Probably will, but people need to know, like you talking about the Black history of rock and roll. People do need to know that, and then it's not even about me, but just the fact that somebody, 22 years ago, I'm just sitting in the room that I'm in, my parents' house, my mom and dad house, sitting there figuring out my life, and I start tracking on my keyboard like some music that will end up being the very first gospel metal song that's been recorded. And I know that big shout out to like people like Kirk Franklin and Ty Tribbett and James Hall, who have taken elements of rock and hard rock and put them in their music, and goth in James Hall's case for sure.
Wow,
Like just
I got to hear that. I know
yeah,
about
James.
Kirk Franklin.
Yeah,
He was real big, especially with Stomp for a while. You know.
oh, Kirk Franklin's amazing, dude. He's really amazing. But yeah, like these people, you know, they've experimented with hard rock a little bit, but I don't think any of them. Ty Tribbett may be the closest. Well, like I said, Ty and James, both of them. Some of their music may have elements of metal, but none of it's been full out for sure. So because of that, you know, like I said, just with me, the very first song, the song I did on that album, on the EP, that would meet that criteria is the song "I've Been Buked," and it's like some really slow doom metal song. It's on that same. I think it comes right after "Bounce with Me" actually, and it starts like with this little string line. There's this real slow, drudgy. It's all on keyboards, unfortunately. That's why I want to re-record it. But I'm doing this like just really slow death metal vocal that was influenced by Paramecium, and it's over this old school gospel song, man. And this is like like a spiritual, and yeah, I don't know what
You
I was
got the organ. You got that organ in there.
Yeah, pipe organ in there.
Dude.
You know, that was definitely influenced by Ancestor, that pipe organ. So yeah, so all that, man. You know, when I re-record, like I said, I re-recorded it. I haven't this time. I'm not gonna do. I might do a version with death metal, just like throw it on as a bonus track. But the new version has all those elements, but it's gonna feature a choir. I have a choir that I'm gonna have do it this time.
That's gonna be awesome. Well, here's a question.
Yeah.
So, when did your musical journey begin? And like, I have a bunch of other questions that have to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna probably ask them one at a time.
Yeah.
I tend to ask like 3 or 4 questions in one question, so I'm gonna just pick them piece to piece, you know.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna tell you, so musical journey. I was like 2 years old or so, and my mom and dad, like, they kind of caught me, so to speak, like picking up by ear some of the music that my sister was learning. So they were like, okay, this guy, you know, has an ear for music or whatever. So they put me in piano lessons, but with their very limited, and you know, God bless them, but with their very limited, let's see, how can I say this? Their very limited perspective on music. There we go. They wanted to make sure that, you know, I was like being trained up to be a musician in church, which I am still a musician in church, but very early, I gravitated towards other stuff. So I just listened to church music growing up. My dad would listen to jazz in the car at the most, like while we would drive. He's a big jazz head. He's become a jazz head again. I'm proud of him for it. But yeah, so that's kind of what happened. When I was 7, I'll never forget it. You know, I watched music videos on MTV or whatever. So when I was 7, I was becoming influenced by more the rock stuff, and I just started gravitating towards anything near heavy. So I wrote a song while I was cleaning up the basement with my cousins, and it was a song about Samson. It's like a really cheesy, like kind of maybe somewhere between Iron Maiden and Winger. That song, and I also remember singing. It was a song about Samson. You know, like that's just the thing I was thinking of in my head. I'll never forget my cousins. Like I was singing the song loud as we were working in the basement, and they just kept yelling at me, like, you know, get to work. You know, I'll never forget. I was 7, dude. That was the beginning of my composition journey, but composition wouldn't come to me on a regular basis until like I got out of high school and in college. I started recording stuff all the time, just on whatever I could find to record on, and just kind of writing and messing around with stuff. But as far as playing music, like I would play. My parents, of course, being real religious and conservative at the time, there were no drums in the church I came out of. But I had, you know, I took a big interest in drums probably over piano. And I just remember like play drums a little bit, playing piano here and there. I ended up picking up violin when I was in 4th grade. And
What?
yeah, so I played violin for 8 years. And I remember in high school, like I ended up like kind of abandoning music. I was like, screw music. Besides like whatever, I would learn stuff on piano every once in a while. I was kind of like screw music because I didn't really see any future in it. And I think it was mostly just because of the limited that I was allowed to listen to. But I have a friend named Cody Markin, and that dude, God rest his soul, he gave me this mixtape, and it had like some jazz on it, and it had like some Stevie Ray Vaughan and some other stuff. So I listened to that joint religiously, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna try to learn this stuff on piano. And I was like 15 maybe at the time. It's like, I'm gonna try to learn this stuff on piano. So started like learning some of this stuff on piano, and it really reignited my interest in music. I was listening to a lot of Guns N' Roses and Metallica at that time also, so started incorporating that into my music. And just a lot of 90s bands, Nirvana, maybe some of Anthrax's 90s stuff. I'm not even gonna say that P word. That band with Phil as the lead singer. We're not gonna say that band name.
I understand why. What got you into death metal? Because that's another thing that when I met you, we were one of the few people that we connected on that level. Plus we're in the hip hop too. But what got you in the death metal?
You know what? Honestly, it was all around the same time. All that stuff was coming together. Like I said, I was looking for the heaviest thing. I was so sheltered growing up. So when I started really getting into music at that time, I started trying to find the heaviest stuff ever. I would say 2 or 3 different things happened that ignited my eternal love for death metal. Number 1 would be the Grind Crusher compilation.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Great comp.
Yeah. Dude, that joint and the specific song on that compilation that really changed my life was the version of Carcass's Exhumed to Consume that was on there. And there was also there was a song by Bolt Thrower on there. I don't remember all the bands that were on there, but I do
World
remember.
Eater. Shouts to Jared, by the way. He didn't get his name from that song. We were just talking about that. But every time I think of Bolt Thrower, that's Bolt Thrower, I think of that song, and then I think about Jared's studio's names.
Yeah.
But yeah. Sorry,
dude, that joint. And then also, I would say when I heard this compilation called Art for the Ears, and that was actually my IG name for a while, Art for the Ear for the Ears. Dude, like, and that compilation had some Christian bands in there, like Tourniquet and Mortification and stuff. And I remember hearing like the little snippet of Brutal Warfare that was on there, and I was like, this music is amazing. So they had, Diamante and the distribution company, and they used to have these like CD things that are like buy 3 get 1 free type of thing.
Yeah.
I remember for one of my birthdays or whatever, it might have been like my 16th or whatever, I went to the store, and some of these CDs have been sitting in there forever, but they had that buy 3 get 1 free thing. So I got Vengeance Rising's Released Upon the Earth, Believers, Dimensions, Living Sacrifice, Non-Existent, and I think it might have been Scrolls, the Megaloth.
Oh, wow.
So I got those 4 CDs. Like, I was trying to find the most extreme music I could find. I got into those first 3 like right away. It took me a while. Scrolls kind of grew on me.
Really?
Yeah, it did. Dude, I don't know. I just like Living Sacrifice more and Believer. Like those albums kind of spoke to me a little bit more at first.
What's the Living Sacrifice album though?
Non-Existent.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they kind of had that like traditional American death metal sound then, Mm-hmm. I like their 3rd album out of all of the ones, and everyone swears by the album after that. But that 3rd album, because they kind of had blast beats, and then they had this gore fest kind of like Swedish thing going on,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that talking about Inhabit, right?
Inhabit, yeah. And then DJ's voice was a trip because he wasn't really he was trying to do what he did
Mm,
on the first album and combine it with what he did on the second album. I mean, you know, I liked it. You
true.
know, I like what he was doing for that particular
Right,
album. But yeah,
right, dude. That was an amazing album. I know I got that like soon after because I started really becoming a Living Sacrifice fan. And like I said, Mortification. Once I really got into them, um, I got Live Planetarium. And Live Planetarium is definitely my favorite live death metal album of all time. Follow closely,
man.
Cryptopsy and like a couple. There's a couple of bands that have really dope live albums. But yeah. So anyway, so yeah, that. And then, yeah, so I guess those three things, like I said, the Art for the Ears compilation, the Grind Crusher compilation, and getting those 4 CDs. So,
But man, I have to admit, man, I love Scrolls, man. Like
Roses,
that was
just
that song, that album is ill, man. And the album after that, like the first album is what got me into them, but then when I heard Scrolls, I'm like, yes, they incorporated the blast beat. They definitely mixed the death metal and grind element, and they kind of were like a little bit progressive, and especially on the album after that, you know, like it kind of went into that a little bit more. And you know, like yeah, but you've jammed out. I mean, you've played with dang, what's wrong with me? Jason Sherlock. Sorry, you
yeah,
guys. I've been having brain farts for 3 weeks.
yeah, you totally good. Yeah, man, dude,
What's
it,
that project y'all had,
it,
man?
it's been cool to like meet my heroes and a lot of my heroes. And Jason, dude, um, been to Australia twice. You know what I'm saying? You know, first, you know. So yeah, Doc, it's been amazing to get to know him and for him, you know, our families to get to know each other, like that kind of thing, man. You know, that's been super amazing. So we're going back to Australia. Like, I don't know. Soon we're gonna try to make this happen. I'm trying to get them to the States also because they've never been to the States. Jason left Mortification right before they did their U.S. tour. Phil Gibson did the
Man, I wish I could have saw them when he was in that band. You know, like I came close, but I forgot what happened. And I like his drum style more than, and no disrespect to the other drummers, but he just has like a different, like the way that he plays is really precise, whether it's blasting or not. You know,
yeah,
like and just you
crazy.
know, like the funny thing, especially when Horde came out. Yeah, no one knew who he was, and then that record label got death threats from all these satanic black metal guys.
Dude, that's so wild, man. And you know,
Crazy.
his drum thing, and he keeps it so simple, like it's almost punk rockish. And I know he did that to try to disguise who he actually was or whatever. But he's killing that album, dude. That actually reminds me of something that I meant to say earlier. We were talking about the black influence on black metal. I remember listening to Dark Throne like quite a few years ago now. And I was like, some of this music actually sounds very bluesy, you know. And they're like, and even Mayhem, like some of their old stuff, like sounds very bluesy, you know. Like, you know, they can't deny it, no matter how much they want to.
Well,
Like,
look at Varg, man. Varg, like freaking. I swore no. This is documented. He said he stopped playing metal because you know it was black people. Like it started from us. Like it was too influenced by us. Now for him to say that, and all these black metal, like you know,
yeah,
National Socialist black metal guys swear by that, dude. Okay, stop playing metal then. Your homeboy said that.
right,
So it's just like I'm like this, man. It's funny. Like I mean, you know, like we've talked about this. Just
yeah,
like, yeah, even he has admitted that. I mean, it's just funny to me because it's just like, yeah, even when people like that play this kind of music, you know, you have even certain bands that I don't even want to mention cover Chuck Berry and basically because they know it's the root. And some of you guys that know what band I'm talking about, you know what band I'm talking about. They were a completely racist band. I'm not going to mention their name on this thing because I don't particularly care for them. But that music, you know, it's this form of music still goes back to those roots no matter what. You know, cats will try to just like, yeah, man. So even with that, as far as like just, did you ever feel like there was some kind of a conflict or like say, for example, you said you came from like kind of a conservative background. with your parents,
Mhm.
did I'm sure they probably weren't too fond of hearing Carcass, and then what made you, especially coming from that background, not see it as a contradiction to what basically not just what you play, but also, or what you came up in, but also what you believe, even with your own, your own beliefs in
Yeah,
that. Like I have the answer to that for my
that
own self,
question.
but this is about you.
Yeah, that is such an amazing question, man. So, um, honestly, just growing up, I just knew that, um, like listening to the music I was listening to growing up, I was like, there has to be something more. It has to be something heavier. And I think when I found that in death metal, especially, I was just like, this is amazing. And I think that, um, being exposed to a lot of Christian death metal at the time, like I said, those first 4 CDs I got were, now Petra was the first. Petra, This Means War was probably the first CD I ever got, but after that, I would say the CDs that I got, were those three or those four, and I think I was a little apprehensive about Scrolls, maybe for that reason, actually. But
Huh.
it just like very quickly that went away, and I think I kind of listened to the message more than anything. So it was really cool that my first exposure to death metal outside of Grind Crusher was those bands, because I was able to objectively look at those as, just ways of communicating messages rather than it being like satanic. And I think with metal, of course, being black and growing up as a metalhead, everybody, like, I was looked at as total weirdo. People were like just kind of like stay away from me because weirdo, so to speak. But um, I guess I kind of get it, because it's sad that, dang, that's a whole conversation we're about to have in a minute, bro. About how we get to a certain age or whatever, and we kind of abandon the music of our youth, no matter what we created, as innovative as it was. And then people appropriate it a lot of times. Um, Dude, so it's just kind of wild, man, to see, um, how people have looked at music over the years and how it has been demonized. But I think, as like the more I got into it and realizing the black roots, I really just dismissed a lot of the backlash as anti-blackness. So I think that's kind of what carried me through. And then, of course, like once I started learning the history of black music and rock and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, this is what was going on. I think that in many ways, the foundation of Black American music is try to like cover all the bases of emotion and then also of innovation, um, that there is, man. So, it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, like I said, any thoughts about metal or any other music being satanic were very short lived. Very short
Yeah,
lived.
it's a trip. Like I've heard people say this. I talked to, like just certain. I got into a discussion with someone. We're talking about this. He was a man of the cloth, and he asked me, like, because he knew that I was a musician. He's all, well, I want to be relevant to certain kids or whatever. And I'm like, well, heck, like I mean, why not fuse it with hip hop beats? And he's like, well, that's kind of the world. But I'm like, look, your traditional music and the chant that you guys do came from stuff that was, you know, of the people at that time.
Mm-hmm.
God could use anything. It doesn't matter like what kind of music it is. I don't believe that music is satanic. Like I
Right.
hate that thing where they talk about tritones and
Oh,
all that. Funny
oh,
thing is a lot of Black American gospel got demonized because we
oh,
used a
yeah.
lot of those patterns,
Yeah.
but that was from what we already knew as a people in our own thing anyway.
Mhm.
God does not demonize, no, peoples do, you know?
Yeah, man. That's very wild, man. I see it even today, man, in a lot of the arguments. I still see some of these arguments. Of course, a lot of it just comes from being a musician, in mostly black spaces to this day. Um, it's been an uphill battle even now to do music. It's funny, even some of the people I've collaborated with for the album were very surprised and maybe even puzzled I know one person was like, "You got me saying you're gonna have me singing metal? Like what?" And I was like, "Yeah, and you're gonna sound great on it. Get in there, dude. Let's go." And came out amazing, of course. But yeah, so I'm challenging like all the people, like, because most of the singers on this album, there's a lot of people singing on the album, and hardly any of them know anything about metal. And I think it's beautiful because it's, in a lot of ways they're being educated, but also they're just like badass vocalists. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh my God, I really want people to hear that. I think about some of my favorite metal albums that are like super symphonic and you know that kind of thing, like Dimmu Borgir or whatever, Dimmu Borgir, or Cradle of Filth, or even more so Devin Townsend. And you know,
Who is that?
Devin Townsend used to be in this band called Strapping Young Lad.
Oh, I remember that band.
Amazing musicians. Oh my God! And Devin Townsend is one of the greatest metal producers of all time, and songwriters, and just brilliant, so brilliant, but great singer too. He has a hell of a voice, man. But you know, he uses, like, he has one song or one album where he uses like 1,000 voice choir, but it's mostly like all Canadians. So when you have like a gospel choir, and I think one of the things that I'm really happy about with this album is, and I hope that people take cues from it and do it themselves, is I'm like, a lot of the singers and even choir, one of the choirs that I'm using are from historically black, historic black universities. Like I don't think there's not a metal album that I know of that uses the HBCU choir. Not yet.
What a trip.
But there's about to be though.
I can't
And
wait
there's a few.
to hear it, man. Like it's definitely going to be something different, and just, you know, great ideas, man. And like, yeah, take your time with it. I know how it is doing projects that take a long time. I'm still in the midst of one, and I still have other ones that I want to get on. But, you know, like,
Man,
and hopefully I'll be able to collab with you one of these days. I know we both live in different states.
Yeah, working on a musician's budget, man. You know, shoot, yeah, working musician budget, man, ain't no joke, Doc. I'm telling you now, it's man, it's no joke, because heck, I mean, I gotta pay bills and stuff, man, and trying to, you talk about like using musicians from everywhere, and I'm trying my best to pay everybody. You know, as a musician myself, man, I know how it is to like do a bunch of work for free, and I appreciate everyone. There have been some people just volunteering at least some of the time or all the time and stuff, but it's almost been miraculous. But at the same time, I do want to show love to as many people as possible, especially those who almost feel like they can't make a living doing music. Like, I've been very fortunate to be doing music full time for the last, 10 years, 15 years, something like that. And I know a lot of people can't. So, in a lot of ways, I want to really give back and encourage people, like, stay in it. Of course, one of the reasons that I am doing music full time is because I do so many genres. So there's a lot less shortage of gigs because I can navigate through everything. So it gets wild because I've had some weeks where I've done a rock gig, I've done a jazz gig, I've done play for churches, might do an R&B club, So, dude, it gets crazy sometimes. But yeah, like I said, I really want to I want to definitely give back. You will appreciate, for sure. One of the songs on the album is a version of Joshua Fit, the Battle of Jericho, but like if Striper wrote it and then invited the Temptations and Tina Turner to come sing it.
That's awesome. I was just listening to Paul Robinson's version of it. Shouts to Black Rock Coalition. I see you out there. Thanks for joining us, man.
Yo, what's up? Yo,
Trailblazers right there, man.
Dude, it's so insane, man. I have a friend named Reggie, man, that he was the first person that I got on the track. And that's kind of how it's been with a lot of the tracks. It's like, in a lot of ways, it starts off as like maybe me and one other person on the track, but then I start hearing other things as a producer, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna invite this person, that person on the track. So with this particular song, it just came to me in the car one day when I was driving. So I recorded a voice note, and then I recorded like the demo in the studio, and then I invited my friend Reggie to come sing on it. And you know, he has a kind of who can I compare? I'm trying to think who I can compare him to, but yeah, just basically like one of those '80s guys, like maybe Keith Sweat, or like he's kind of a mixture between somewhere between Keith Sweat and Sylvester.
Oh wow, I want to hear that because Sylvester, ooh, that
Yeah,
guy's voice. Ah
exactly.
man, it just breaks my heart how
Yeah,
he died. Shouts to also March Lowe from the Heavy Metal
yeah,
Happy
yeah,
Hour. Man, if you're still here, what's up, March? I'm sorry I missed your name before.
yeah.
And she knows both of us. But man, dude, I would love to hear
Dude,
that.
you're
Keith
gonna crack.
Sweat and Sylvester's voice would move everybody,
Yeah,
bro.
dude, it's like hilarious. It's hilarious and it's really amazing at the same time seeing this. But I think next week actually, there's a woman that actually like she's been doing this Tina Turner tribute forever. But once Tina died, she got picked up by Live Nation to do like a national like Tina Turner type of tour or whatever. Um, you know, like a Tina Turner tribute type of thing. So she's doing a lot more shows now. It's crazy. But
Man.
she's on the track. So them together. So like once I started adding people, I'm like, you know, we're gonna make this like the Temptations or the Five Heartbeats, where like one person says one thing and then somebody else comes in, and then you have like a deep bass voice in there, and then you know somebody singing high. You know,
I want to hear that. Hey, just don't have Eddie Kane come up in there. Or those kind of attitudes. No, I'm just thinking of the movie.
everybody amazing. I think that's the thing. Like I said, I think a lot of people are getting a kick out of it just because, you know, in fact, my dude Reggie, he was like, man, you got me in here singing rock music.
That's
And
rad, homie. Like seriously, man, nobody hears. I mean, like That's a trip to have the Temptations, Sylvester, and Keith Sweat in the context of metal.
mm-hmm.
Nobody. That's
Right,
a trip, dude.
right.
That's dope.
You know, like it just comes really from, like I said, just doing so many styles of music at the same time. It sounds very schizo, and it probably is.
Well, tell us some of the guys that you've played with. Actually, two questions.
Yeah.
Who were influences on you musically, and who are the artists that you play with? I know some of them, but some of these cats don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you touched on a few here and there, but give cats the rundown of that.
All right.
Thanks,
So
Mark.
I would say, let me see if I can give. I gave a top on one of my pages. I gave like a top 20 recently. I'm gonna try to do like maybe 7. I'm gonna just name out a couple of artists that really influenced me heavily, and then I'll talk about people that I've kind of worked with. So, let's start off with Tribe Called Quest, because when I started like really be, you know, even though I did the metal thing, the Lamar project, at the same time I was doing that, I was also recording some neo soul stuff for some people that I produced with at that same, like right after that, basically. And I did quite a few neo soul albums. But yeah, so Tribe Called Quest, like they were my muse for sure for a lot of that. Still one of my favorite hip hop groups, definitely top 5. Busta,
Rest in peace, Fife,
like,
man. Oof.
really Native Tongues, Busta Rhymes, Leaders of New School, Trap House Quest, De La Soul, just that whole collective. So heavily,
ONS,
and the Soul,
De La Soul.
who are their spiritual children. You know, Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, The Roots, Common, Slum Village, like all that stuff. Like
Yeah, Brand
it's
Nubian.
that stuff. And then on the other side of that, I got, you know, the thrash metal movement, because that's what really brought me into heavy music is you know, Metallica, the big 4, Anthrax, you know, Megadeth, not so much Megadeth as much as the other ones, but especially Metallica and Anthrax especially, but also a little Megadeth and Slayer.
Yeah, I dig Slayer a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Slayer is bad.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
guess I'll go on to mention his name now. I've refrained so far from mentioning him, but I'll say Pantera. In the 90s, I did listen to Pantera. One album of theirs, anyway. Whichever
Is
one.
it Vulgar?
It was probably vulgar, whichever one effing hostile is on. I'm not gonna say that on here just because, children. I don't care, but saying some people get sensitive about that stuff. And that's a
I
whole nother.
understand.
But dude, like when it came out though, and just growing up, and I'm sure you can say the same thing. Like when they came out, just listen to some of that stuff. And then, of course, it took a serious turn toward death metal. So, we talked about Mortification, we talked about Carcass, Morbid Angel, like all that stuff, man. And I think
First 3 Morbid Angel albums for me, man. I mean, it's funny, me and my guitarist were talking about this. He doesn't like the first album, though. He's like, that's a little too thrash. I'm like, dude, those are the. Come on, man. we didn't get into a heated debate, but yeah. The first
was amazing when I heard that. And
I
still, to this day, even Derek is amazing. People hate on him. Derek Green he's a monster. That he's so good,
man.
I think his face.
Sepultura.
Huh?
You're saying Sepultura? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Talk about Derek. People hate on him because he's black and he replaced Max or whatever. But dude, he's amazing. Especially I love his vocals and stuff. I think that he kind of has a weird stage presence, but overall, he's a monster, man. I love the current Sepultura, and I love the old Sepultura.
Yeah, it's funny. You're gonna laugh at this, Joel. I recently saw the Calavera Brothers. It was awesome because I'd never seen Sepultura back when I got into them. Mm-hmm. But also, I saw Soulfly when they played in Long Beach. It was great to see Max then too. But then a month before that, I saw. Shouts to my friend Eugene Alexander. He got me a ticket to see Sepultura, and Derek was fronting them in. So I was glad to see all three of those performances. That Calavera Conspiracy is no joke, bro.
Yeah,
go and see them when you can.
I saw them last year, and they were amazing. Ooh. Yeah, dude, they just redid Morbid Visions and dude,
it's monster.
It's my favorite stuff, man. I'm gonna tell you, I like them live or whatever, Soulfly and Cavalera Conspiracy, but it was always, it felt like there was something missing. But with them doing these reversions, it trumps everything they've done since Max left Sepultura, honestly.
It's monstrous. You could feel it. Dude. Yeah. Mark says it's great tours. Yeah, man. A brother dude, I saw them live, man. I couldn't pit, but I was like, yo, and to see freaking Igor play them blast beats, man. Yeah. I was like, yeah. And then his son, Max's son's playing with him.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Dude, Eloy, who's playing for Sepultura currently, he's a monster drummer too. That dude.
Man.
He reminds me of Igor back in the day. He's crazy on drums. He got the arms of steel, dog. His arms are super huge, dude. But yeah, all those guys, man.
I forgot. March speaks a lot of. So I think, don't you know Sepultura? March, didn't you interview those guys? She speaks Portuguese, so
oh wow.
And
March speaks everything. Dope like that. Yo, but dude, now of course we talked about metal, we talked about hip hop, but also I would say I'll name a couple jazz, R&B, and gospel artists. So jazz, I can't remember who the jazz artists were on that mixtape that got me into jazz, especially, but I would say I gravitated heavily towards a couple of albums once I got into jazz. One of them was Ramsey Lewis, Sky Islands. There's a song on there called Sarah Jane. I almost feel like playing a little bit of it, man. But dude, Sarah Jane, when you talk about saying, talk about saying words without actually saying them, saying words with music and just playing with emotion, I learned so much from that song, man. Sarah Jane. And the rest of the album is amazing too. But that song, dude, song is major, dude. When I talk about major, like I said, that song, yeah, that impacted me so hardcore, man. And I wrote a couple of songs in that vein too, later on. But man, yeah, that song. But yeah, so that There's a guy named Billy Childs who put out a few. He's still putting out albums. I've kind of reached out to him just to let him know how much he influenced my music. Also, Herbie Hancock. So Billy Childs has an album called Twilight is Upon Us, and also his April Touch. Those two albums heavily influential in my piano playing.
That's awesome.
Herbie Hancock, The New Standard, amazing album. That's an album where he kind of deviated from, he had been doing electronic music, he had been doing traditional jazz, and on The New Standard, he decided to do an album full of covers in traditional jazz style. And that album is heavily influential on my music. Chick Corea Electric Band had a bunch of albums back when, of course, Dave Weckl drummed for them. That stuff was heavily influential on my style. Let's see what else. As far as jazz, I would say those are probably the main ones. I got into maybe more.
Oops, Joel, we can't hear you, bro.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, we couldn't hear you, man. You started pantomiming for a second. We couldn't hear you.
Let me
You
try
said
this.
you got
Right,
into
hello?
what?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. What did you say you got into?
So I was talking about Chick Corea Band, and also just a lot of progressive stuff. I was saying I didn't get into traditional jazz until later on. Then I got heavy into that for a while. Tony Bennett, MTV Unplugged, changed my life. I had started playing for a lot of parties and stuff like that, and then I discovered someday, like far out there, of course, after he recorded it, but someday I just kind of picked it up, and it changed my life. I learned a lot of like those classic Sinatra and Duke Ellington and some of those kind of songs from that particular album. There we go. Can you hear the piano?
Yeah.
I'm gonna play a small amount of Sarah Jane, dude. So this song, when it comes to songs that really changed my life, man, this is one of them. Just playing this song with a lot of emotion, man. I mean, Ramsey Ramsey was just crazy. Here's a little bit of the song, there's so many little tricks or whatever that I learned from that song, man. But sometimes the power of playing one note, sometimes just little one note phrases like that, like he had one part of the song where he's going up highway, he's like. So that kind of stuff, that's a straight blues, All right, enough of that.
Man, shouts, man.
Yeah.
I'm clapping. Dude, I can't play piano to save my life, man. Funny thing is, I've used keyboards on some of my solo stuff, which one of these days I'll release. But I'm not a keyboardist, bro. Like how you say with guitar, I am not a pianist or a keyboardist. Yeah, I'm listening to you. I'm like, this brother is just playing like it's just gliding off of him. Shouts to Josh Ruff. This brother is the guy that made that the oscillator thing that we play at Instant Band. He has this is Puff Handy. If you guys don't know who Puff Handy is, check him out and purchase his Atari Punk console, the Altoids oscillator instrument. It's amazing. And thank you, Josh. You rock. He's another honorary Sound Army member.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jared, you heard him play. He was, yeah.
And
That was dope. Shouts,
listen,
man.
man. Yo, like, yes, so all that stuff, man. And I started incorporating that. And I'm gonna tell you another thing that really influenced. I talked about Metallica. And Justice for All is an album heavily influenced my music, and I learned all those songs on piano.
What?
Especially,
You actually learned?
yeah, especially Kirk Hammett's solos, man. I studied those joints on Injustice for All, and I learned all those songs on piano, dude.
You can play. I gotta hear you play Black End on piano.
Right,
Well,
exactly.
I love the beginning of the theme, the title cut to Injustice for All.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a dude. I actually I recorded. I have not put it out yet, but Injustice for All, like that main riff is so beautiful, but it also is very similar to Stevie Wonder's "Living for the City." So I did let me do a demonstration real quick. Here we go.
Wow.
So I did a mashup, unreleased, of course, but I did a mashup a while back, man, of those two songs. Dude, it's like raining like crazy. That freaking sucks. Because I'm gonna be going outside in a minute.
You in Kentucky? Oh, Lord have mercy.
This. All right, check this out. So, y'all hearing this first? I got this is a phone, so I can't position it like my computer, but you can hear it. So,
I know that.
here we go. So,
And I can hear that enough from the city that da 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 da. Dude.
mashup, I was like,
Oh. Yeah.
yeah.
That's so dope. You got it's so dope. I never thought of that until you played that.
Yeah.
And I love that song too. That's like one of my favorite Stevie songs. I'm a Stevie Wonder fan too.
Wonder,
Man,
dude,
that's so dope. Yeah, man, that's crazy. It is the same progression. I'm like, wait a minute. And I always liked the beginning of that song a lot.
Oh yeah.
I think we did it at the end too. But yeah, that was awesome, man.
Ain't changed, dude. I'm taking it. I'm talking about some life changing songs, bro. Like those. Man, it's like hardcore raining outside, dude. This is crazy. Dude, so I'm thinking that just because I'm about to get my charger in a second. Thankfully, my car is right in front of the church. I was using my my hotspot.
But shoot, it's cool, man. Like, I mean, like we could roll. We could rock.
Stay on. We're good, dude. We're gonna be on here for a little longer, man. Let's keep it rolling for sure. We're gonna keep this rolling, bro. Like for real. But yeah, man. Like I said, so Stevie, man. So as far as other R&B artists, Marvin Gaye's "I Want You." So of course, growing up in a religious home, I wasn't exposed to a lot of the '70s music that most Black people were. So
Myself
I didn't,
included.
right. I didn't discover much of, I mean, you know, of course there was stuff on MTV. I was sneaking watching MTV at night, but I didn't like 70s music. Of course, they weren't playing that on MTV in the like 80s and 90s. So I discovered 70s music in the 2000s, mostly like a little bit in the 90s, but mostly in the 2000s, which really sucks. But I remember it might have been 2001, like 2000 or 2001 when I discovered Marvin Gaye's "I Want You."
Wow.
And musically, it changed my life, and I just regret it. Now, it was in the 90s that I discovered my favorite Stevie album, and maybe my favorite album of the 70s, which is Fulfilling His First Finale. So many great
Wow.
songs on that Stevie album. A lot of people have favorite Stevie Wonder albums, but that one, Smile Please, there's just some progressions on there. I'm not playing any more music on piano per se, I don't think. But yeah, that changed my, like, just my perspective of like how to do stuff with different chords and stuff like that. And yeah. So yeah, Stevie, like yeah, Stevie Marvin, you know, I gotta give a shout out for sure to like, you know, the Supremes for sure. LaBelle, you know, the group LaBelle.
Oh
The
yeah,
Emotions.
Patty and,
The
Nona.
Emotions. So my favorite thing to do is vocal arrangements. And I love jazzy and really huge vocal arrangements. A lot of that comes from my love of groups like Take Six, but also groups like The Emotions, who just really had some crazy vocals. I just regret I didn't discover that stuff earlier, man.
You discovered it, and you work with Take Six
Yeah,
too. A lot of people don't. You try to be
here's the
coy
deal,
about it, but he actually worked with
right?
them.
So the deal is, I've worked with all except for who have I not done anything with at all? I'm trying to think. It's a couple of them I haven't done anything with at all, but a few of them I've worked with, mostly in live settings. And I think as I like, you know, I was talking about all this music I discovered and stuff. One of the biggest things that I did was to do a bunch of live shows. So along with me doing the church thing and along with me doing the club thing, I'm like one of those musicians that, and you know, there's a bunch of us out here that people end up calling when they need a musician in town and they don't have a full band or whatever. So people will call me a lot of times and I'll end up learning their music. Like me and my homies will learn their music and play it. There's a few situations where we've had like that. It's getting Dwelle. Really and truthfully, you were talking about like people I play for. Like I said, a lot of it's been live. So there's been quite a few gospel singers, you know, that I've played for live. Richard Smallwood, Walter Hawkins. Remember Walter Hawkins?
Nah.
Okay, so you know, you might know Edwin Hawkins. Edwin Hawkins wrote "Oh Happy Day." Walter Hawkins.
Oh.
Walter Hawkins is his brother. Walter is like one of the greatest. He wrote a song called "Going Up Yonder," you know, and that's just like a.
That song is. They be playing it at the funerals. I know that song. That song be having me. Now, I can't listen to that song because it reminds me of like. Yeah, I've been to funerals. It's a
Yeah,
powerful song, but I
man,
get
dude.
teary eyed, man. I
I
told my
definitely
uncle.
got to pick up on Walter Hawkins' music, man. Walter Hawkins is one of the greatest. But anyway, I did a concert with him. He died like a few years ago,
Wow.
like a decade, whatever, almost a decade ago. But I was very no, actually more than a decade ago. But I was so fortunate, man, to actually be a musician, like to play for him in one of his last um, you know, live appearances, man. That concert was so crazy. The band in that concert, it was like 5 of us, and we rearranged some of that music, and we just went ham. But yeah, it was like so many gospel artists that used to come through to a couple of the churches I was playing for. But yeah, so on, you know, on the secular side, also there is a group I used to play for called the Ascension Band.
Hmm.
And I'm really hating this rain. Hold up. Actually, I'm gonna hold that thought and get this charger. So let's see. We gotta play some like bossa nova music in the background for a second.
Hope you guys are good. Yeah, this is Black History of Rock and Roll. Sorry, I'm in this leather chair and it's making these funny noises, but it's cool. Um, man, remarkable, dude. I never realized that in the city That's actually my favorite Stevie Wonder album is Inner Visions. And Metallica, that's the last Metallica album that I like, actually. You know, like Injustice for All was like like I always say Metallica, it begins with all and ends with all as far as their albums. You know, like Kill 'Em All and then Injustice for All. Like other than that, what's up, God Holistics? How you doing? Thanks for joining us. He came back with a hoodie.
Yeah,
The
bro.
brother was in the rain.
Oh yeah, man. Dude, that was in the rain. Thankfully, it didn't take long.
Man, that's heavy. Shoot.
Yeah, man. So the Ascension Band, it was a band put together by this guy named Shake Anderson, who was an amazing um, musician that's played for a whole bunch of people through the years. So I knew him because his brother was best friends with one of my piano teachers, and they used to just hang around each other all the time. So he took me under his wing, had me playing for all kind of artists, bro. So one of the things that we did was, you ever heard of Ichthus Festival?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, you know, like a Christian festival, like they had like a lot of rock stuff. So they would have people there like Skillet. And
Yeah, shouts to Jerome. I know Jerome from
okay,
Skillet.
yeah, that's what's
That's
up.
the homie. He used to be in the band Mortal.
Yeah.
And I don't know if was he in Fold Zan? I'm not sure.
Oh,
But yeah, Jerome's
yeah.
a good friend of mine.
Oh, yeah. So, dude, like all these people. Oh no, that's Switchfoot. I mean,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
yeah.
I don't know why I keep getting those two mixed up.
Yeah, no, dude, amazing. That dude's amazing, dude. Like for real, Jerome is God.
Yeah, Jerome's awesome. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, super genius actually. But yeah, man, Skillet and a bunch of other people. Toby Mac, like it's a bunch of people that we like kind of did stuff with. But the band itself featured a bunch of musicians that like kind of play for a bunch of people, and then also like some kind of famous or semi-famous jazz musicians. So at different times we would have like Des Dickerson was in the band.
Oh, rad. So you met that cat?
Yeah, oh yeah, we did quite a few shows together with the Ascension Band. One of those, we were scheduled to do a show in Kentucky because all the shows were in Kentucky, or most of them. We were scheduled to do a show in Kentucky, like early summer of 2016. So we were like looking at what music to do, and then Prince died. So the show ended up to like a big Prince tribute.
Yeah, I know Dez took that out because I mean, of course, he was in Prince's band.
Mm-hmm.
That's a trip.
Yeah. So other people that were in the band that were notable, Chester Thompson.
Wow. One of my favorite freaking drummers.
Yeah, dude, that dude's
You played with Chester?
Yeah, Chester's crazy. And his son,
You played with him?
Oh, yeah, man, a lot.
Man.
Victor Wooten was in the band.
Oh, wow.
And also his
Victor's
brother
a beast.
at different times. And like I said, it was a few people, man. But yeah, those are that. Phil Keggy, he sat in with it. He was in it, like
wow. All these like Jedi musicians.
Right. He definitely did a few shows with us. Honestly, dude, when it comes to the people that are in, and actually, Digital Black, who is now in Drew Hill, he was like one of the singers for sure. Shake Anderson, like I said, the guy who put it all together, he was singing, and then we had a few other people too that were just monster singers, man. So yeah, I was the rookie. I was definitely the unknown guy in the band, but getting that experience and learning from all those guys, man, was amazing. And JD Blair, got to talk about him. He, first of all, he plays drums on track 3 on my EP. But yeah, JD played for Shania Twain. He played drums for Shania Twain from 98 to 2014.
Wow.
And then also, of course, he's on all those, most of those Victor Wooten records. Victor basically had like 3 drummers through most of his career. JD Blair, I can't remember the other guy's name that used to play for him, but actually still does. Dang, and I've played with him before too, but I don't remember his name right now. And then also, of course, his brother who plays drums. So But yeah, it's usually been one of those three guys to play with them. But yeah, Reggie Wooten on guitar and bass. Reggie is, all them Wooten brothers are insane for sure. But
Sick,
yeah,
man.
oh God, those guys, freaking, they're crazy, man. They're from another planet, bro.
Those guys are all Jedi cats, man.
Oh yeah,
Jedi.
dude, super Jedi,
Nice guys.
dude. I was just soaking it up, man. So, dude, we did all kind of crazy stuff. We played for, the Ascension Band played for Russ Taff.
Man, I haven't heard that name in decades. Russ Taff.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I said, it was just a lot of stuff we were doing, man. It was such a great time, man. I learned so much, and a lot of those relationships I still maintain to this day. Like I said, of course, JD Blair just played on some stuff, and just shout out to him, man. Yo, crazy vibes, man. Like I said, it's it's probably quite a few others, man. I did some studio work even with Crystal Lewis, and actually one of my favorite people that I've done studio work with is somebody that the first time I heard of you was looking at the credits for BHORRM.
Oh, wow. For real?
Mm-hmm.
LPG?
Mm-hmm.
Dax. Shouts to LPG,
Yeah.
Dax, and Tunnel Rat.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then of course, it might have been, it was, it was that, and also Illumination by SFC. Both of those albums.
Shouts to Steve and SFC. Those are the homies.
So that's when I first heard of you. And then of course, soon after Javelina, and I was like, I gotta meet this guy. Him and who else played it? Oh, XL played on those albums. It was you and XL basically, and this guy named Boogie that played all those records together on bass.
Man,
it was like they were just rotating, I guess, between the three of y'all. So I recorded a song on drums with XL on one of his recent albums.
man.
That was
Shouts to Todd. What's up, XL? If you see this,
yeah. Dude, shout out to you.
I played a show with XL. You would have laughed because it was when both of us had hair.
Yeah,
both of us had our big naturals out, and he had his. Dude, we played with Mark Solomon from The Crucified. His kind of hip hop sort of crossover thing that he did called Native Son. And it was the only time that I ever played with X. I think maybe we did play it once with a different drummer. I'm not sure. I played like maybe two shows with him, and it was Edie from Head Noise sang as well. Believe it or not, that's actually how I met Head Noise, was playing with Mark Solomon. Well, what became Head Noise, of course, I actually was their original drummer. Most people don't know that, and they're still rocking. But it's funny. So we go out on stage, and XL, he had his fro under his hat, and I'm like, and I had mine's all blown out. He's like, man, I might as well blow mine. He took that comb out. You were rocking the stage with it.
So
What was had our clothes out?
It's so dope, man.
Insane. He's a sick drummer.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. It was amazing to play on the album for sure. Knowing that he's such a great multi-instrumentalist, but he kind of like me, like just want to have other feels for different songs, man. And it was cool, and I can't wait to do more work with him. So working with Peace 586 for a couple of years, we did like The Battery, which is him and Journey Big, man. So I did most of the songs on at least one album, and then I did like a couple songs on another one of their albums, and then
Shouts
also
to Renee, Mr. Peace.
Yeah, exactly. And then I also did like a few things on a couple of pieces, solo beat tapes and stuff. Yeah. So the Missy EP, for example, I think I played on all but one song on that, like 5 songs. And then we actually have a bunch of unreleased beats and stuff. I really want to re-release. I want to release those as a beat tape. So I need to
I think the last time I saw Peace is when you came out here that one time. And was that what you guys were working on, right?
Yep. That's right. Yeah, we were working on the Battery album then, the first one.
Man, I gotta check that out. What album did you play with XL on again?
So it was called Truth, Offensive Truth, or something like that. Offensive Truth Part 1 and 2. I'm on part one.
Far out,
Yeah.
man.
So
Well,
I have like, I was telling you I have like a few one man bands. So the ones that I have right now, my main one man bands are the rock ones, and they are the Jazz Soul Metal Experience, which is I have two songs out of the Jazz Soul Metal Experience. One is smooth jazz, the other one is like a kind of acoustic death metal. I don't know, it's like a little bit of everything. It's almost everything I listen to in one song. That I did for a Grave Robber tribute album. You ever heard of Grave Robber, the band?
I've heard of them, but I've never heard
They're
them.
like a Christian version of the Misfits, basically.
Huh,
Heavily
that's a
influenced.
trip.
Yeah. They did an acoustic album, covering a lot of their songs like right before the pandemic, and they invited a few other artists to be on the album with them. So I did a song. My vocals on that song are heavily influenced by Crash Test Dummies, but then I sneak some death metal and black metal vocals in there towards the end. I'm like going crazy with that. But it's an acoustic guitar song, but I also like along with that, and I'm playing drums on it. My dude Joe's playing acoustic, and I'm playing everything else. But yeah, I also do a piano solo in that song too, like towards the middle. It's so funny, dude. It's such a great song. Just displaying like all of my love for so many types of music in one song, man.
So what
So I got jazz.
what's the band? Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No, go ahead, go ahead. What are you about to say?
Oh no, my bad. I didn't know. I was gonna ask like what because I know about All Gods Destroy.
Oh yeah,
How
God.
how would you even describe that? Is it different from
You know,
Lamal or is it
well,
there's a lot of
it's
similarities?
so it's very similar to Lamal, but the major thing is that it's probably a little bit heavier for sure. And I'm playing like live drums on the whole album instead of like just loud drums on one song. So I mean it's still an EP. And really, dude, there's a whole story behind that. I created the band, like I said, I was doing this stuff at Ichthus, and we had a year where it was um it was me, Shake Anderson, Reggie Wooten was there, JD Blair was there. I remember that. And a few other people, a couple people I've been working with. Adrienne Archie was there, like she sung with me. But yeah, and with Shake. But I told the festival people, I was like, yo, I have a band. And I would love it would mean the world to me if y'all found a way for me to play Deep End stage, which was like their heaviest stage with all the bands. Like the Showdown, I think, played after us, in fact, and had a few bands open up. So I was like, it would be amazing if y'all did that. So they hooked it up because I've been playing for them for a couple of years. But here's the thing: I didn't really have a band, so I created one right there. It was like Your God's Lie Destroyed. So I created a EP kind of like I did with Lamar, literally just to pass out at the festival. Um, I'll never forget that concert for a couple of reasons. Number one is because I got some of the best, my favorite musicians that I've been playing music with for a while to play and sing with me for the Your God's Lie Destroyed set. And we did everything from punk rock to death metal to doom metal to melodic metal. And, it was just a big array of stuff. It was just crazy. Nobody knew who we were, of course. I passed out some flyers so people would come to the thing. And man, we got up. It was probably like 200 people at the stage. Skillet was taking a lot of our, the people because Skillet started playing like not too long after we did. Man,
That's so funny.
dude,
It's
it
a
was
lot.
so funny
It's crazy.
because it's like halfway through the set, I think that people were equally starting to just come to our stage and see the Showdown. But a lot of people said that they were just passing by and heard us playing and were very intrigued and wanted to come over. So, dude, started with about 200 people. When we got to our last song, it was like 2,000 people in that crowd. And
Wow.
we finished, and they had us do 2 encores.
Oh,
The second
that's cool.
the second encore, man, we just made that up right there on the stage. We're doing improv metal, dude. It was so fun. Yeah, dog. It was a straight up. Dude, we made that up. I should have made it thrash. Dude, it was crazy. And all the CDs that we made I sold out of all but like maybe 5. So
There was like one recording, right? Like a
yeah,
live. I thought you shared a live a long time ago when
yeah,
that happened.
yeah.
Didn't somebody record that?
Footage from one of the. There's a lot of live footage from one show, and then there's a little bit of live footage from the ICTU show too. So I don't, I'm not sure. I hope my dude Ray still has that stuff, man. I'm not sure, but whatever. I'm gonna also re-release that EP soon, just for the heck of it, just to preserve it, because all these songs just really existed in demo form for a long time. Hilarious stuff. But yeah, your guys I destroyed. So honestly, once I made actually Jason Sherlock made the logo,
That's awesome.
and
So,
and I'm going to I'm gonna resurrect the band at some point. I want to take it in a very, I don't know, I might keep it in the same direction I kept it in, like, which is very hybrid. There's a few grindcore songs on there, of course, and this very Napalm Death and Vomitoria Corpulence influence,
love that stuff.
but and even Disturbance, yes. Right, exactly. But so I think I have I have a piano solo on there. So the music that I've always put out has always been super crazy and eclectic, and I like to keep myself guessing even I know that it might take a while. It might be something for everybody, nothing for everybody, like it's very rare that everybody's gonna be able to get into every song, but I guess the way my brain works, man, I'm just trying to like make as epic music as possible. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so the next Your God's Lie Destroyed song, and I'm gonna release it as a single, and it's actually the song is called Your God's Lie Destroyed, and it's the story of the Ark of the Covenant going to the Philistine land in the time of Eli and Samuel, and how the Ark of the Covenant went to the pagan temple. And then when they woke up the next morning, the gods that, Dagon and the gods that were on the floor, destroyed. So that's what the song is about. So yes, that's, a little Bible trivia story for you. So that song, like musically, it's very, I would say, old school Internal Bleeding probably influenced that song the most. There's a song they have called Epoch of Barbarity, and it's
Yo, one thing, check it out. We got Composers of Color and Dave Muerte from the band Ruin. What's up? How you guys doing, man? Yeah.
yeah, heck yeah,
Dave's into like a lot of I mean, Dave's kind of one of those eclectic cats too. He's in the black metal, hip hop, death metal, funk. So like, I think you guys have met each other on Insta or Facebook.
yeah.
I know he knows Derek, but man, and Derek, Mr. Doomhop, Derek Monster Neil is supposed to be releasing some stuff. So
Oh,
I
dope.
think I introduced you to him too. But yeah, so yeah, those brothers, like, shouts to you guys for coming out. And I saw Donut earlier. I forgot to say what's up to him, one of my sounds.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have to say, man, what a trip.
Yeah, yo, that's so dope, man. But yeah, like I'm trying to think what else we got. Like as far as metal, like Spray D, I've talked about that enough. I will say this: the EP is called "Enough Bondage Now Freedom," and of course, that's a phrase that was taken from a Christopher song, actually. But yeah, "Enough Bondage Now Freedom." It has 3 songs on it. It's 2 versions. It's like a New Orleans swing jazz version of Down by the Riverside. It's just like an intro. And then there's a thrash metal version of the song featuring Chance and Calhoun, who's a really dope R&B singer in this area. And then the
Wow.
third is Right on King Jesus, which features 4 of my favorite singers in this group called Team Fire. Each of them are amazing soloists that are doing major things individually and collectively. Dude, there's a video. We did an impromptu pop-up concert on Saturday, man, not rehearsed at all. And it's crazy. We just smashed, dude. A lot of it's improv, and then some of them are just doing cover, like familiar covers, man. You know, it's gospel, but yo, it's so dope. But yeah, so those are the 3 songs in the EP: Enough Bondage, Now Freedom, Diaspora, AD. So yes, those are the metal projects. I do have a few more projects that I'm working on. I got a one project that's dedicated to love, you know what I'm saying? Love murder. You know, our black
Shout
love. But also, I have a poetry series that I'm working on called Black Love Magic.
Is that
And
like on the Love Jones thing, or?
yeah, that's gonna be an 8-part poetry series, man, like with neo soul playing in the background. Um,
Oh shoot!
it's gonna be
And I
like,
know you got that Barry White baritone thing going on.
dude, I'm gonna do a couple of poems here and there, and maybe a little hip hop, but mostly, you know, I'm gonna be inviting a bunch of my really dope poet friends to speak on these albums, man. And it's gonna be so eclectic. It's gonna be so different. Like, I've already mapped out like how the album series is gonna go. So one album is gonna be like just black men showing love to black women. Like, all the poetry is gonna be that. The next one is going to be like black women showing love to black men. The next one after that will be like married couples or something like that. And then I'll have like even like LGBTQA couples showing love to each other, like, you know, just poems and stuff about that. Um, I have an album that's going to be the conflict album. It's going to be all about conflict, black conflict, you know, in relationships. So, dude, it's a whole series. I'm probably not going to be
Just context, right?
I've recorded like 2 songs for it already, and one of them I'm doing poetry on. But and that's kind of what inspired the album. But I might release that as a single. But I'm also going to release, you know, like maybe a couple more songs. But the series, um, I'll start releasing music from that probably about this time next year. Got to get the metal
That's
out first.
cool. So you got a lot of irons in the fire, man, and I think that's really cool. I'm gonna ask like 2 more questions. Actually, this is probably 2 more questions in
Oh,
one. Then we're gonna
yeah, we'll wrap it up.
see like if anybody else has any
Okay.
questions, or if anyone has any questions, chime in. And then I gotta get my roll on like deodorant.
Oh yeah.
But what as far as like what advice would you give to any musicians out there that are musicians that kind of feel like that they're either starting like you were back in the day, or they're in kind of a rut, like just, I don't want to say creatively, but just idea wise.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my 2-part
Oh
questions.
yeah. So, dude, I would say just keep at it. I just remember, like I said, I talked earlier about being totally uninspired. Find something to be inspired by musically. Like, whatever your favorite music is, just kind of gravitate towards that. And if nothing else, if you have a way of picking up music, like when it comes to like just picking out, playing by ear or whatever, learn that way. I highly suggest people kind of learn to read sheet music and stuff. Also, I think 2 of the things that have really kept me going through the years is 2 things. I learned how to play piano, and then also that I know how to play music in every genre. So for the second one, um, there's a very rare shortage of gigs when you play piano, because piano is just one of those instruments. It's just one of those main instruments. So learn some piano, even if it's a few songs. I'll be doing a couple of gigs soon where I'm just playing piano for an hour, like for Christmas. Like,
That's
I get a
awesome.
few of them, and just playing Christmas music. I hate Christmas music, but I'll play it. Right.
Speaking of, you should check out my friend Jimmy Scafish. Yes, Jimmy Scafish, the godfather of Chicago punk. Check out his Christmas jazz album. I think you'll dig it.
Yeah.
I'm not a Christmas music fan either, but I actually like his album.
You know,
Shouts to Jimmy Scafish. Man, what's wrong with my tongue? Jimmy Scafish. I'm
mm,
tripping, dude. I get tie tongue sometimes. Sorry about that. But yeah, I just thought I would say that.
yeah, man. Piano is, like I said, there's so many other instruments. Also, of course, I play other instruments, so that comes in handy from time to time for sure. Um, so that, and then also, like I said, learning as many styles of music as possible. That's the other thing that has really kept me going. Um, I'm equally at home doing Guns N' Roses or Metallica, and I'm as I am like Walter Hawkins or Herbie Hancock or or you know even Migos. You know what I'm saying? Like I listen to so much music. Megan Thee Stallion, like I love Megan Thee Stallion, like and a bunch of other people, man. So listen to everything and learn. Like I said, I remember just being young and listening to Tribe Called Quest and like sitting down and learn that stuff on piano, or even like many other hip hop songs, like classic hip hop songs, stuff by like
Are
Big.
people surprised? Like when not only, I mean, like you being a hip hop head, but you also being a black metal and death metal head, do you get people that are surprised
Oh yeah,
whenever it's like, "Hey, what's this guy really?" Like do you get people trip out, especially, and do you draw parallels to all these different
oh,
genres?
oh
Like
yeah,
just
I
like
definitely.
I mean, like how would you explain that?
You know what? I'm gonna tell you what I think. What happens? What I've seen a lot of times with the black metal community, and even other rock communities, is that like they like to crap on hip hop a lot of times. They feel like it's not real music. And you've
I
seen.
know Dave is not like that because me and Dave always talk about hip hop.
Mhm.
Me, Dave Muerte, you and Derek Monster Neil. We're kind of anomalies. we're into that extreme, both versions, hip hop, death metal,
Yeah,
and funk and R&B and all that.
dude.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, but no, that's so true, man. Like, um, yeah, people can't. A lot of people can't reconcile. They don't understand. Like, but for me, it's all. Of course, it's just all music, and it's all like music that stems from. It's our inheritance, dude. And we have to like start gatekeeping that stuff, man. In a lot of ways, I love it, and I kind of hate it that it's come to that. But man, so many people have taken advantage of black artists over the years, and then they've taken the music and made money off of it, and they've taken the culture and they've made money off of it. Um, and so many of us die without like just simple stuff like health insurance, man. It's like what in the heck? I remember Scarface and I think Big Daddy Kane recently received some awards, um, and also like health insurance. And it's just like, dang, like just thinking like these people have been around for a long time. And, a lot of these artists in hip hop and in jazz and stuff, a lot of them died from preventable diseases and stuff. And it's like, dang,
Yeah.
you know,
Eric Dolphy, man, I think of him all the time. Look at Billy. Yeah, there's so many different examples.
to do like that stuff is important, man, to take care of your health, man. Or what I'm saying, just yeah, you gotta prioritize that like at some point. Now I'm speaking to somebody that I have to speak for myself and be like, there's areas I can work in, of course. But yeah, it's so important, man, to do that. But yeah, as far as like I said, black people just getting our stuff stolen from us, man. Um, yeah, we had to gatekeep, and I was gonna say something about Andre 3000. So I made a post the other day on one of my pages, and basically Andre he had a quote saying, "I have nothing to say in hip hop at age 48," and I just got to thinking, damn son, like obviously he's speaking for himself. You know what I'm saying? He's saying, I'm 48, I have nothing to say, but I think in a lot of ways, that's like one of the bigger problems that we have in music, man, is that there's so many people saying, I'm 48. I don't have anything else to do in that particular music. Let me go do easy listening or something. So many of us as black people have abandoned the genres and the innovation that we've made to go and either make other music or to drop out altogether. Now, Andre, of course, is like super rich. He can do whatever. But there's so many other artists, man, that people discard at like age 50 or whatever. Oh, you're too old to rap, or you're too old to, do this and that. A lot of people say that. Or, I think one big thing that I've seen really going back to what we were just saying about advice, one thing that I've seen in the gospel community and the R&B community and even in the rock community is that um, a lot of these artists that have been out here for years, man, they get discarded uh, so they can find younger people to be in their bands. I'm not going to name any names right now, but there's definitely a major artist that I was connected to in a way. I didn't play for them, but one of my best friends did. And he's actually a little old. He's a mentor, dude. Because the artist wanted some younger people, they got rid of him and some of the older band members. And it's crazy because, of course, you know, you get older and you're like super experienced. You've been playing for years and stuff. You charge, and hell, yes, I charge. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, just from the experience, and I mean, I'm gonna bring it when I do work, so I do charge. But yeah, a lot of people aren't so fortunate when they try to do music, man, because just whatever. Like I said, there's always somebody younger that can do it, and I really want young people to like do music. I really encourage everybody. I don't care, like, you know, thankfully I do enough types of music to be able to survive and play enough instruments to be able to survive. But yeah, a lot of people just don't. So a lot of people that are young, you know, they take their place, and these older people, man, they end up like just kind of dying out. And like I said, when you get like 49, 50, also another thing is like we're always looking for the next big thing. So like even with hip hop and stuff, and even with other genres, like once we like made a whole bunch of innovations in jazz, once we made a whole bunch of innovations in R&B, and I think this especially happened with rock music. When black people felt like they couldn't take rock music any further, they kind of abandoned the genre for a while, and it allowed the people, and I think a lot of it, of course, was just burning out from seeing the white artists like taking the music and making more money and being much more successful with it. So,
Yeah,
you
a lot
know,
of it was marketing
yeah,
too,
yeah,
because that's what I always call it, the Jim Crow thing.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
Yeah. So unfortunately, instead of like gatekeeping the genre, we abandoned a lot in a lot of ways, and we abandoned a lot of the music that we were creating. And then once once the appropriation happened, I mean, it was like too late to reverse what had happened. But yeah, like I get it. Like black people, man, we've always been super innovative. We've always just wanted to see what the next level is. And I think that even happened with hip hop. Like we're like, you know, okay, we did like the old school thing. Now let's see what we do when we do, you know, like other stuff, like, you know, like jazz rap, or we do, you know, Wu-Tang comes along. They have innovations, you know, and then, you know, trap music comes out like later, like all this stuff. And unfortunately, um, a lot of people latched on to the new stuff and abandoned a lot of the old stuff. So now, you know, when it comes to old school hip hop concerts, it mostly be white people there.
That's true. They're a big audience when it comes
And
to hip hop, especially.
and I love,
You know, but
like, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, love white people, but I just think it's sad, man, to see how we have abandoned in a lot of ways so many genres. Like I said, so Andre 3000 saying that, it definitely made me sad. I get it for him, especially. Like, I support his dude. I love his album, but I think that it definitely speaks a lot of times to some problems that a lot of people are facing, where when they get a certain age, people are like, oh, you're too old to do this. And then it's like, damn, I've been doing this my whole life. What do I do next?
I think personally, and even when I was commenting on your thing, I hope you wasn't thinking that I was getting at you.
No,
I just think like my opinion was just like, hey, he probably just wanted to try something different, because a lot of cats like just, you know, kind of, I understand what it's like to be that, you know, be considered a one-trick
yeah.
pony, especially with some of the things that I've done, and people expect that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like sometimes it's like, as a musician, and even though people don't regard rappers as musicians, they are. I mean, we both know that.
Oh, yeah, we definitely.
Especially with the people that we've worked with and people that we know, and even a lot of legendary rappers that, I mean, have innovated and done a lot of other things too. I think with Andre, in his case, it's like, hey, you know, I can rap and that's
Mm-hmm.
cool, but I have other things that I want to do,
Right.
even at this age. You know, like I have things that I feel like, me personally, I'm
Yeah, yeah,
kind of speaking in third person. Like, I don't really have anything to say right now. And it's like, you can't force us, you know, I'm not saying you're doing this, but I'm like, some of the people, I've heard people like, dang, you know, he's gotta like, I know I'm sure he could do that, but it wouldn't be authentic if he just did it
right.
just because that's what he's expected to do. And it's more kind of like, let me do something different. And I'm glad, I mean, I'm into like a lot of experimental music. So for me, I related to what he was doing right away,
Dude,
but
me too.
he's been doing experimental music even when he was
Yeah.
rapping. So this is just another step, but just with a flute, you
Yeah,
know,
the
like,
love a lot of rap album. So you know, so I definitely expect the unexpected from him. Dude, I love his new album. I love that. Like I said, my whole thing was I just don't want other people that have already been told they're too old to do this to feel, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to see that. I know I can think about a couple of my heroes right now, man, that just aren't doing well, man. For various, you know, but I think one of those heroes, his music style, man, God bless him. He's like one of my favorite, like super, like when it comes to local influences, one of my favorites. But
wow,
his music style, man, he has not grown at music. And I think a lot of it might be because of, like, you know, substance abuse or whatever, and whatever else has been going on in his life. But he definitely has a style. But that style, man, is just outdated, man. And it's cool. Like, he still can play his butt off, and he be playing like a lot. I'm glad he's able to still get gigs. But yeah, I listen to him now, and I'm thinking, dang, he never progressed, man. Like, especially according to his potential. But yeah, somebody like Andre, he'll always, I hope that he progresses. And I think one thing I really hope for is that his music opens opportunities for people that have been doing instrumental music that have not, that people just haven't been aware of, like Black people that have been doing instrumental music. You know, there's a young lady that.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you good.
Oh, a lot of his music is kind of even reminiscent to people like Sun Ra, you know, or like a lot of avant-garde jazz and classical type stuff, you know, like, so it's almost like he's carrying, and I'm not saying that he's even trying to do that. He's just playing what's on his mind, you know, and I think it's cool just to see, like, because we've been doing stuff like that as a culture, you know, like, and even, you know, there's even a renaissance now, especially among foundational Black Americans. You know, there's a movie, Microphone Check, coming out by Tariq Nasheed that's basically highlighting a lot of the beginnings of hip hop that even go further than what a lot of people know.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool because a lot of people don't know those roots, and it's going to get in touch with a lot of the things that, you know, seem to be either forgotten or just straight up ignored. And some of those things may have been abandoned by us, but at the same time, there's other things that have happened even corporately that kind of told a different narrative that is not totally true. So I think stuff like that, as well as like just the innovation, there's still great MCs. I know Ice Cube, Snoop, E40, and Too Short just released something. Yeah. Those guys are still going in, man, and they're still great AMCs, and they're still killing it. You know, I think it's called Westmount, or I mean, Mount Westmore. Yeah. You know. So it's cool to see that. So there's still a bunch of cats that is. Look at LL Cool J, another brother. You know, like that's just still
new album. Really? Oh, Friday. His album comes out Friday.
Man, and he's still doing it.
Oh yeah, Busta Rhymes.
You know,
and this has been Busta Rhymes' year, bro. And that's so beautiful to see because he's definitely been one of my favorite MCs, like, God, since the '90s for sure. So. Yeah,
and we can't forget about a lot. I don't know if too many people know, but I'm sure a lot of people know. Freestyle Fellowship, Basie Alone, all the LA lifers, people like Pigeon John, who's a homie of both of ours, LA Cool.
Yo,
shouts to all those Project Blowed MCs and Good Lifer MCs that, dude, they fertilize not just the underground, but they're the unsung heroes of a lot of the stuff people are doing in hip hop today.
Yes.
They did that over 30 years ago. LA Cool was way ahead of his time. CVE, Chillin' Villain Empire, Riddlelore, shouts to that brother. Man, you know, like I can go all day. So these guys are still doing it, you know, like, and they're around, you know, they're in their mid to late 40s, a lot of them. Some of them are in their 50s, almost in their 60s, and they're still killing it. And so there's still brothers and sisters out there killing it, man. You know, like,
yes, sir, dude. It's great. I'm really, like I said, I really want to see, like I said, I want to see all of our music. I don't want to see another situation like what happened with Rosetta, what happened with Little Richard, what happened with, like, I don't want to see that. It's just like, hey, dude, you know, enough of that, man. Like, for real. But dude, here's something that you'll find interesting. You might remember that. So on the Lamar album, I also have a song that's kind of new agey, and it has like it's just me playing like roads and stuff, and then like a lot of like nature sounds in the background and stuff. And it's like, no tempo. I'm just playing music. So I'm definitely gonna, when I re-release that, that's gonna be interesting too. Dude, it's crazy that I had all this stuff on one album. I had like 3 metal songs, and then a piano solo. I had like a new agey song and a shout out track.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you're gonna do another shout out. I tell people all the time when I'm talking about you, I'm like, this is the first, like, I know it's not all death metal. This is the first album that I ever heard with any kind of extreme metal that gave a shout out. I'm like, dude, you can't get no more down than that. And the way you did it was just so smooth, man. I'm like, this brother did a whole track of shout outs. You don't even hear cats do that no more, man.
That was wild.
I love when like people like Brand Nubian did that stuff, man, and like a lot of those bands,
honestly, interesting. The first shout out track I ever heard is what turned me onto a lot of Christian hip hop, including like SFC and LPG. Preachers in Disguise. They put out an album called I will never forget Violent Playgrounds. I remember hearing Preachers in Disguise on the Dove Awards one year. And I didn't, like I loved it. But when I went to the store and like checked out their album, it really didn't, do anything for me. So I didn't get it. But when I saw they shortened their name to Preachers and they kind of had like a little quote unquote edgy album cover.
Yeah, kind of a gangsterish type thing going.
Album to see what it's about.
More hardcore.
And I loved it, man. But there's a track on there where a bunch of people are giving shout outs. I know that Soup is one of the people on there giving shout outs, and there's a few other people. But Soup shouted out like the Gospel Gangsters, and quite a few others. So I went like Freedom of Soul and some others. So I went and like got a few of those albums because I love Violent Playground so much. I was like, if these people are shouting out, whoever on here, then their music must be good. So yeah, so it was through that shout out album, that I discovered you, and many others, dude. Like, yeah, I had like I said, just because you playing on the SFC and LPG album,
Oh, I was like, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it was just a natural progression, man. Now I'm gonna tell you, as far as songs, my favorite song that you've done. This is random, but dude, one of my favorite songs ever that you played on, dude. Well, I'll give you 2. Welcome to the Show by Pigeon John.
That's a funny song.
Yeah, using that chorus as an intro for a couple of my live shows. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Welcome to the show today. You want to kick it off in a major way? Hey.
John. You hear him on commercials now.
Yeah, Pigeon John is freaking dope, man. One of my favorite MCs of all time, dude. Even though he be singing a lot now, but still one of my favorite MCs, dude. But also, always there for you, the Striper cover,
Oh wow!
Boom, 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 boom. I'm always there for you.
Dude, we ripped the heck out of that freaking song. Like, I'll give you a little insight how that came about. When they told us they wanted us to do a Striper cover song, Javelina is not a normal band.
Right.
Even though Yumi Hara, shouts to Yumi Hara, didn't think that we were weird enough. She's like, I thought you played odd music. I'm like, dude, Javelina, I don't want to label Javelina because it could be anything,
Right.
And I'm like, and I told her, I'm like, one of the labels that we were on, like, didn't really know how to market us. And they even told us that, like, I don't know if that's not odd enough for you. So the funny thing about this, Matt, he's like, man, we are not going to do like a normal Striper cover. So we just randomly, the song it didn't even take that long to write. Like, we just basically like wrote 3 different parts. It came together. I think it even came together in the studio. Like I don't even know, like it was so fast. And like, basically like My favorite, of course, is the end because I'm into dissonant stuff.
Yeah, yeah, cool.
I haven't heard that song in a long time. I have to look that
I
up.
have it somewhere, and I swear that
That's a
joint is,
crazy song, man. All the Striper fans are probably like, "What the heck is this?
yo,
What the hell is
people
this crap?"
that album, man. But I loved it. I loved it because people hated it. That the song that Clank did on there, it was like a death metal version of The Way. That was those two, like
That's funny.
Always There for You and The Way. Those are amazing songs, man. Oh my God, just crazy with it. Beautiful song.
Yeah, we had to gut the whole bloody thing and rip it apart and just throw our own tools and whatever kinks and wrenches and whatever. You heard it. I can't even describe what we did. I haven't heard that song in like probably a few decades.
Yo, the part where you all do that, the part that's supposed to be the guitar solo, and y'all just go real crazy. I was
Dude, that was hilarious. And he meant to do it like that. He's all, man, I want to do like just the most wank guitar solo. It's something that he doesn't normally do. I mean, you know, like that was hilarious. And I'm like,
right. And then it goes right back to
it's all lounge and stuff. Stuff was comedy. I forgot about that song.
Man, if y'all find that, it's on YouTube somewhere, y'all. Y'all go check that.
I gotta find it.
Always There for You. It's one of the most hilarious songs I've ever heard in my life.
Stuff is hilarious, man.
Just
So hey, man, we're gonna cut it.
let's do it.
And do you have any words of wisdom for the audience?
You know,
And if the audience has any questions, please chime in. I forgot about that.
oh, dude, yeah. If y'all got anything real quick, well, you know, y'all got any questions real quick? Let's answer a couple of those questions. Besides that, like I said, the biggest advice I've already talked about, like I said, just learn as many styles as possible. Learn some instruments, man. But besides that, just do your part. Gatekeep black music, for sure. Not that other people can't relate to it. Not that other people can even can't even play. Because I mean, you know, I think about a dude from McStole, you know, Ula. Like he's doing some crazy soulful stuff. He's great. But I think that like don't abandon black art, dude. Don't abandon it. You know what I'm saying? That's like my whole thing is to bring awareness to black art at all costs. Just because, like I said, we just been taken advantage of so long, and you know, just been thrown to the wayside while everybody else like makes super duper money off of what we've built, man. You know, even hip hop is all over the world. Hip hop culture, you know, even in appropriate forms, is all over the world, and it's all over music. Like there's not one genre that isn't touched in some way by hip hop, man. Like, and also obviously other genres too, like jazz. But dude, so
jazz and rock and roll.
Yeah. Support black artists, man, and that's you know, that's it. And also, you know, check out my EP among others, and be looking out for other stuff. Now I'm gonna say a couple other things out of context without any additional commentary. You know, get to know Jesus, get married.
I'm not married.
Dude, like what else? I mean, what else is good? Like, yeah, but even okay, I'm tripping, but no, like, those are great things.
It's your advice, man. I ain't tripping.
Right, and what else is it? You know, just learn music, man. Get your kids into music. You know what I'm saying? Like, teach them young, man. There's no greater gift, man, than to show people culture, like kids and stuff. Like I said, I missed out on a lot, but I also learned a lot. So, you know, shout out to my whole family. You know, they taught me what they could, and then you know, it is what it is. But yeah, shout out to my whole family. You know what I'm saying? Just I got some amazing. I'm surrounded by a lot of amazing people, friends. You know, also and bandmates and stuff, dude. People like you. Cannot wait to come and see you. Like February, we're gonna be there, Doc. I'm bringing a whole crew, Lord willing. I'm bringing a super. I'm trying to bring like 10 people with me this year. Just
y'all gonna rock the Grammys this time, or are you gonna record or
Grammys? But also, like, here's what I'm trying to do. I want to set up a few shows, for the people in Louisville. So Dude, I got another album that I came out with this year that I played on. This group called Jamila. It used to be called Jenadine. And it's an
Oh,
alternative rap album. It's like very
alternative what?
alternative hip hop. So it's very,
Oh, cool.
and in fact, most of it without drum machines or drums.
Wow.
I play drums for them and keys, and live I do drums mostly. But yeah, the album we just decided, you know, the producers are the rapper and the guitars are the producers, and they decided like towards the end of it that we were only gonna have drums on it, like on a couple songs. But it's real cool. But like I said, it's hip hop, so that's what, you know, it's real alternative. So dude, that album came out. There's an album I played on by this woman named Chanson Calhoun, who's also on my album singing the thrash song on the choruses. Her album is super dope. It's like R&B, but it also has jazz elements and country elements and stuff. Dude, so I'm trying to think, what else did I release this year? Those might be the main three. I've done some other stuff here and there. So, okay, enough of that. Yo.
Well, hey, thanks again for joining us,
Dude,
Jay. Or
right.
Joel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like two movies.
Yo. What?
All day, man.
Yeah.
Shouts to you guys. Shouts to all you. Shouts to Joel. And just, you know, keep on rocking that madness, man. We really appreciate it. And you guys, give us your social media, man, and where cats could follow you at.
The best way to like see stuff, man, jazz, soul, metal. Like I said, I talked earlier about the jazz, soul, metal experience, which is one of my bands. But yeah, jazz, soul, metal has been my handle for everything. You know, Instagram, obviously, Facebook. Like, you know, it should be like facebook.com jazz soul metal, and it'll come up like the jazz soul metal experience. But I think it's also one of my profiles. Of course, I got Jay Goodwin, which is almost full. You can still follow me there if you want, but yeah, I think the people I keep up with most, of course, on Jay Goodwin are either Black alternatives or the Christian metal community, which is a lot of conservatives. I love the way they clash on my page a lot. It's so funny, but whatever. But yeah, Joel Goodwin, that's where Joel Lamar, that's where you'll find, like, you know, my whole family and stuff, and, you know, you'll see like some of my personal life. Also, like Our Black Love, like that, you know, that's a real dope page. Also, like I said, Jazz Soul Metal Experience, Your Guys Lie Destroyed has a page. Who else has a page? Yeah, Black Love Magic's about to have a page tonight. But Jazz Soul Metal, like, especially go to Jazz Soul Metal. That's the one. Go there, and you know, got a TikTok page even. Got X, aka Twitter, you know. So, dude, like, yeah, that's the one, Jazz Soul Metal. So, yeah.
All right, you guys, we got it right here.
So,
and
great stuff.
Thanks again, brother. We really appreciate you.
We seeing you.
And enough respect, man. Enough respect. Peace and creativity. Thank you guys. Black History Rock and Roll Month. We're rocking madness out here in these streets, these Instagram streets. And thank you guys for coming out. Peace.